Let it be COVID. All right, well, hey, word of the day is risky behavior. Risky behavior is any behavior with an uncertain risk. Binge drinking, experimenting with drugs, reckless driving, and the list goes on. Saying of the day is don't downgrade your dream to match your reality. Upgrade your faith to match your destiny. This talk is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice, treatment, guidance, or diagnosis. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, substance use and abuse, or suicidal thoughts, dial 988. 988 is available 24/7 nationwide and staffed by trained crisis counselors who are just a text or a call away. All right, 5 signs you had a traumatic childhood and you don't know it. Do you think you grew up in a healthy environment? How many people grew up in a healthy environment? Let me see the hands.
Wasn't Mayberry, but yeah.
What made it healthy?
I had a constant parent there. My mother was always there.
Okay.
Strict parents.
Strict parents?
Yes, sir.
That made it healthy?
Oh, no.
No, I'm just asking, bro.
Oh, a house to sleep in.
Okay, bed,
Yes, sir.
food.
Yes, sir.
You don't know nothing about going hungry and all that
Oh,
stuff?
no.
Okay. Who else said they had a healthy growing up?
I did.
I know you did. Yeah. Anybody else? Rest of us, we in the other boat.
Thinking it was healthy.
Hey, I don't know. We're gonna
still here, Jack.
we gonna go through
We
this.
still here.
We're gonna go through this. No, that ain't.
What is it?
He said he's still here.
Well,
that don't mean it was a good childhood. Just because you survived it. I survived it. Look at me. I turned out all right. Yeah, okay. Did you really turn out all right? Do you think you grew up in a healthy environment? Our childhood is supposed to be a time of joy, happiness, and growth where we learn about the world through experiences with our parents and the people around us. But unfortunately, some of us didn't experience the blessing of living in a happy household. It's a blessing to live in a happy household. It's a blessing to grow up in a healthy, happy household. But unfortunately, some of us didn't experience the blessing of living in a happy household. If you were neglected or abused as a kid, you probably suffer the consequences of the abuse to this day without realizing how toxic your situation really was. You may have come to believe that your childhood was just how families work and drag your learned feelings of shame, fear, and sadness into adulthood. You may have come to believe that your childhood was just how families work and drag your learned feelings of shame, fear, and sadness into adulthood. So let's get into it. 5 signs you had a traumatic childhood and don't even know it. Number 1, you got childish reactions to stuff. That's what children, I mean, just think about when you was a kid in elementary, some of the things you did. Thinking you hurting the teacher. Remember that? We used to do stuff thinking we was going to hurt the teacher. Until you get to like middle school or high school and one of them teachers let you know,
You heard yourself.
I'm getting paid either way and I got a degree. Childish reactions. How do you cope with stress? While children cry and throw tantrums to relieve their frustrations, it would be odd to see an adult angry stomp their feet in the middle of a boring meeting. Yeah, people act childish all the time. You could be at the grocery store and somebody hands you your money the wrong way and you start flipping out like a child. This is why adults need to handle their problems in a different way, more mature way. But if you suffered trauma as a child, you might find yourself drifting off to simpler times when life gets too hard to handle. This is called age regression, a coping mechanism which your behavior temporarily reverses to earlier stages of development. This is called age regression, a coping mechanism which your behavior temporarily reverses to early stages of development. So when faced with stress, you may turn to using baby talk, throwing tantrums, rocking back and forth. Baby talk, throwing tantrums, rocking back and forth, pacing back and forth, or sucking your thumb to soothe yourself. Some extreme cases of age regression can include crying in the fetal position or bedwetting. 5 signs you had a traumatic childhood and don't know it. Insecure attachment. Remember Linus?
Blanket.
The security blanket Linus had, and when he didn't have it, he flipped out. It was almost like he thought the blanket provided something. Insecure attachment. In psychology, the theory of attachment refers to how our ideas about relationships are learned throughout our interactions with our parents or caregivers. Growing up with a secure attachment meant that your parents had fulfilled. Now, this is the positive way. Did you grow up like this? Growing up with a secure attachment meant that your parents had fulfilled your needs when you were a baby and you gained a positive self-image. Remember what you said about the dude in school? About your confidence?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Growing up with a secure attachment meant that your parents had fulfilled their needs when you were a baby and you gained a positive self-image. Your self-esteem was high and you learned to trust those around you. So a person who was raised properly, they have a positive, healthy self-esteem and they trust other people. If you're the type of person you don't trust others, you had a bad childhood, because if you can't trust the people in your house, how can you trust people outside of your house? If you leave the house and come home and they stealing your stuff, if you go home and something good happened for you and you talk about it and they put you down and make fun of you, if it's in your house where they criticize you and make you feel uncomfortable, they make fun of your nose, they make fun of your looks, they say you're black, they say all kind of stuff, criticize you, make you feel bad, how do you trust people outside of that environment? Especially if you grew up in that environment. But with an insecure attachment, your caregivers may have been so neglectful that your brain decided that people can't be trusted, and you end up developing a negative self-image which can haunt you into adulthood. As a result, you may struggle to form or maintain close relationships because you experience intense feelings of abandonment or a fear of commitment. 5 signs you have a traumatic childhood and don't know it. Number 3, conflict avoidance. You try to avoid conflicts. You don't like them. Were you allowed to stand up for yourself when you felt you needed to? Or did your parents always just dismiss your thoughts and ideas? Growing up in a dismissive or overly critical environment can have taught you to expect negative reactions from the people around you and cause you to be afraid of confrontation. Whether it's with your partner, family member, work colleague, or friend, you may find that you can't really voice your opinions and will always let them have things their way. Even when things upset you, you may just choose to avoid the topic, pretend you're okay when you're not, or even force yourself to stay in a toxic and uncomfortable situation just so you don't have to disappoint someone else. Woo! 5 things you had a traumatic childhood and don't know it. Number 4, you function at a low self-worth. You function with low self-esteem. You going through life with the emergency breakup. Did your parents praise you for your achievements, or did they brush them off like they never happened? Were your parents gentle with their criticisms of you, or did they humiliate you when you did something wrong? If you were constantly criticized for everything you did, no matter how small or insignificant it was, you may come to believe that you're worthless and can't do anything right. These feelings may continue into adulthood, where even if you were told you did a good job, you still carry a complex that it wasn't done right or well enough. It's as if you're living life in such a way that you never feel good enough for others or yourself, and live in a constant state of anxiety, wondering what others think of you or whether they approve of you or not. 5 signs you have traumatic childhood and don't know it. The final one, number 5, you indulge in risky behaviors. You put your life on the line for fun. You probably had a rough childhood. Lastly, another sign of possible childhood trauma is if you engage in lots of risky behaviors. Studies have shown that exposure to traumatic events and the development of post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms can cause you to seek toxic behaviors more frequently. Even if you don't see it as a big deal, risking your life and health is certainly a cause for concern. 5 signs you have a traumatic childhood and don't even know it. Number 1, you got childish reactions to things. You might be laughing at stuff that ain't even funny. Number 2, insecure attachment. Number 3, conflict avoidance. Number 4, you function at low self-worth. And then the final one, number 5, you indulge in risky behaviors. Questions, concerns, or comments?
I know some adults when I was in New York, they would go to what you call it, Rockefeller Center, just to see people fall on the ice. They said, I'll be coming to see people. I said, come on, man, they'd be busting out laughing when as soon as somebody fall on the ice.
On Rockefeller Center?
Yeah, grown people. I'm like,
Man.
I was at the store and this guy there was 2 young ladies working in the back, and one was having some type of female issue, and the other one was helping her. And she mentioned that she had missed a period, and the guy was standing there with his stuff, and he just burst out like, and then like I guess he thought about it like, well, why was I laugh? It was in a situation like it was odd.
Right.
What's funny about that?
Mm-hmm.
I neither, but he think he was kind of embarrassed at first, but he did blurt out laughing. Well, she was just talking with a girlfriend because she was like trying to figure out what was going on. The girl had gone through something.
That's a little pervert.
It was.
A lot of people just laugh at, insecurity moments.
Yeah, it might have been a nervous laugh.
Oh, you said the way people deal with stuff?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Kind of like a nervous tick.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not even really funny.
Just kind of.
It's like a lot of comedians.
reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of comedians do that, like dramatic stuff. They'll like try to make a joke out of it.
Oh yeah. Comedians are known for that. They take their pain and they put it out there and make comedy out of it.